I, 32 female, just want to express my love for my husband, 35 male. He's an incredible man and the love of my life. A few months back, however, I made a terrible mistake and cheated on him. He found out about it 2 weeks ago, and since then, our relationship hasn't been the same, and he even threatened divorce, which is understandable. However, I managed to convince him to try and work things out for the sake of our kids, 2 and 5. Here's some context. I never imagined I would cheat, nor have I ever cheated before. However, a few months ago, I got laid off at work, which added a lot of stress to our lives. We both have jobs, but with the loss of mine, he had to take up extra work, weekends and overtime after 9 to 5 during the week. During this time, I struggled with self-esteem issues, and I felt like I was slaving away since 100% of the childcare plus household chores fell upon me since my husband was too tired to even fix his own plate. I struggled with feeling beautiful and was dealing with insecurity. My husband has previously been amazing with our kids and helped out around the house, but I felt like our relationship was lacking the support and intimacy we used to have before I lost my job. He was always tired. I was always tired. And on top of that, I felt unappreciated. Where things went wrong. Before the layoff, my husband used to plan romantic dates and make me feel special. However, with the added stress of overworking, he seemed to forget about taking care of our relationship. I didn't feel desired as before, and despite my efforts to lighten the mood, he seemed always cross and sometimes would lash out at me because he thought I wasn't doing enough to find a job. One day when my husband was at work and kids were with my mother-in-law, I ran into an ex-colleague from work while shopping. We exchanged pleasantries and got to talking. Somehow seeing him was nostalgic, and I started resenting my current life being holed up all day long with the kids at home. So I started texting my former colleague, and within days it became a full-blown affair. We became physical twice at a local motel, which was the worst mistakes of my life. My husband became suspicious because of my behavior, and the affair was exposed when my affair partner's wife found out and informed him. The aftermath, my husband was devastated and threatened divorce, but I convinced him to give our marriage another chance for the sake of our kids. However, he's been distant and won't even share a room with me. I recently approached him again to take responsibility for my actions and suggested we work together to rebuild our relationship, but it hasn't improved the state of our relationship. I'm lost. I'm seeking advice from couples who have been through similar situations on how we can move forward together. Update: I'm really struggling right now. My husband has met with a lawyer and is filing for divorce. We don't have any shared assets. Our house is his ancestral house that is still in his father's name. I have my car and have been making the car payments on my own. It's a bit out of range for my budget, so that has left me with very little savings. My husband has some savings in his own car he had since before we were married. If this divorce proceeds, I'll lose custody because I don't have a place to stay. I'll be on the streets with no job, no money, no custody or child support. I'll still get an alimony though. I have no one. I have a couple friends, but they're quite busy with other things, and they don't seem to be very willing to help out. I just really wish I had someone to talk to. I'm so scared, especially for my kids. I don't know how I'm going to support us or whether I'll even get custody of them. Has anyone survived a situation like this? I'm so scared and so alone. I never anticipated this situation. Throughout your post, there's a lack of genuine remorse. Justifying your affair won't make things right. You're solely responsible for breaking your husband. It's unfair to manipulate him by saying, "Stay for the kids." He deserves the choice. Give him space to process his pain and refrain from making demands. If you truly love your husband, respect his need for space and any other requests he may have. Making amends will be a long journey, and you must remain humble and genuinely remorseful throughout. If you can't do that, it might be best to leave him now. My husband, 32, and I, 31, married straight out of college when both of us were 23, married for 8 years, together for 10. We were happy for a while or so, I thought. We had some difficult years due to him being in depression, as he was jobless for quite a while, leading me to support both of us. He wouldn't pull up his weight around the house, and even after several conversations, he wouldn't work on himself. After feeling stuck for what was several months, I had met someone online through a hobby group and went on several dates with him. He made me feel beautiful, appreciated, loved, all those things that were lacking in my marriage. I felt terrible the whole time during the cheating, but it was just escapism. When my husband eventually found work and things started getting better financially, he started being more responsible, showed love and appreciation, and I felt super guilty. I confessed everything to him and I really hurt him. He was super mad, ignored me the whole time, never showed up at home during nights, and it became unbearable sharing a roof with him. One day, he said he realized that all the good things in our partnership were worth fighting for. And since I was the one to confess, there was still hope for us. Eventually, we underwent counseling. He forgave me and accepted me wholeheartedly. And also, I found the courage to forgive myself for what I did, or I wouldn't be able to move forward. Him forgiving me was quicker compared to how difficult the inner work was to process everything, my reasons behind my cheating and bad decisions, and still having it in me to feel light and good about myself again. My therapist told me that I need to feel worthy despite my mistakes, because they don't define us. We had several years of good marriage again until I got laid off and he was the one to support both of us, just like I once was. I also lost one of my family members recently and found it hard to even get out of bed. My husband was complaining I didn't do dusting and laundry like I am supposed to, and literally said, "At least I won't cheat on you." This was cruel, beyond hurtful. We were past this. He knew how much personal strength I had to exert to forgive myself, and he just casually threw it in my face today. I haven't spoken to him for an entire week now. I didn't cook for him like I usually do. I've stopped initiating affection even though he wanted to have sex with me last night. How do we fix this? We cannot afford counseling right now, edit. It is petty of me. I shouldn't engage in these childish behavior. However, one thing I've learned from being in therapy, that no matter what, I will never feel bad about myself again, or hate on myself, or feel worthless. I will step out of my current behavior and will do better, but not at the cost of how I should feel about myself. Edit 2, we are way past that. Yay, I cheated. But is my entire identity that? I guess not. Of course I can blame him for hurting me again. I repented for months on end. Felt terrible. He reminded me that there's more good to me than there's bad, and that's enough. I should feel enough, and I am enough. I stick up for myself and will continue doing so, even if he's the one to bring me down. He forgave you, but he can't forget. All you talk about is how you feel, but have you considered how he feels? He now knows that he can never have a hardship in his life, or struggle, because the second he does, you'll end up on bed with another guy. Can you imagine how it can be to live like that for the rest of his life? Comments. He have to remember it takes time to recover after being cheated on, and that time can range from weeks to years to forever. It's a pain like no other. It's betrayal. He's still hurt. If he brings up an old issue, it's probably because he's not over it. It might actually be worth discussing the situation with him. The more you talk about it, the more relief he will gain. Good luck. Have you ever considered that this is not all about you? You talk about all of your internal struggles, but you have not really considered that despite putting a smile on his face, internally he probably was and still is struggling with the fact that you were willing to betray him when things got tough. Now you are ironically in the same exact situation that leads you to cheat on him. Giving him the silent treatment and shirking your responsibilities in the home is the exact opposite thing you should be doing. You both really need to sit down, and perhaps you should think about asking him how he is doing.